Welcome to Rainbow Soul Podcast, where our soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Hello. Hi. Welcome, everyone. Oh, I hope you're having a beautiful day. I hope things are going well for you. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully you've landed and you're ready to get yourself ready to connect with the planets and the stars. I'm Hollis.
And I'm Bright Hawk. Always a pleasure to have you here on Rainbow Soul.
Oh, Brianna, I'm glad it popped up. Woohoo! We do this every Monday around this time. Every Monday at 5 o'clock. I accidentally said 5:30, and I didn't mean that, so I changed it. So
yeah, so hopefully folks find us.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it was a mistake. I'm glad you're here, Brianna. It's good to have you with us. And today we're going to take a minute to just take a deep breath and
you know, these little meditations we do at the beginning, it helps us get grounded and centered to begin with. I'll tell you the truth. And it also inspired us to create a series that we had been thinking about for way too long. And now, if you go to Bright Hawk Productions YouTube channel, we have a whole guided meditation series. Just put in Bright Hawk Productions guided meditations, and you'll see there's a handful, 5, 6 of them. We're gonna get started on doing more of them again, but
yeah, we're gonna get some more rolling again. We just had to take a little break to get taxes done, honestly, and we're still not done. Good grief. We tried to make more room for it, and we just filled up that room with something else. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway. So, friends, I'm glad you're here. And I hope you'll take a moment, take this minute to ground, put your feet on the floor, sit with your back straight or sit on the floor. Take this moment to center with me right now. Maybe close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath. And imagine yourself in outer space. Surrounded by darkness and blackness all around you. That seems to go on for infinity. And as you look to your left, you can kind of see the planet Pluto. And Pluto is moving very slowly. And And you notice completely opposite of that, to your right, is a red planet, the planet Mars. And it's moving very quickly. Directly across from Pluto. And Pluto, as you look into Pluto, you can feel its sense of transformation and change. Its ability to push, to change things, to transform. Its power. You can feel the sense of power, control within it. Slow moving, shadowy planet, holding mysterious powers of transformation and change. Big and powerful. Directly across, as you look to your right, this red, speedy planet coming into a perfect opposition, perfectly opposite Pluto. And Mars is fast. And maybe sometimes in that fast it creates a bit of conflict. Sometimes when you're moving too fast, conflict happens. Mars can destroy things in a way that's very quick, while Pluto slowly takes it apart. Two planets, different, but the same. We can feel the energy within them, and we can feel our draw to one or the other. Are we willing to go deep? Or are we just going to speed through this? And as we pull back into our bodies, into the here and now, into the present, we're back to our bodies, into our presence of being, into balance, into the here and now. I invite you to wiggle your toes and fingers and come back to the present moment. And open your eyes and find yourself in this moment. done, Bright Hawk. Well
was a pleasure.
done. Well done. Yeah, it's beautiful. I appreciate you.
You bet. Well, I appreciate the little journey you takes both of us. We're a good team, I think.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, and the good news is we love working together. So it just makes things easier if we can work together, honestly. And I think that's also what makes it important.
Yeah, the best of both of
You have
us.
to like who you're working with.
No problem there. I love you lots. Wow. You did tell me it would look different than what I do.
It's definitely
I
an
think it's
Easter
great.
egg today.
It feels like an Easter egg today. Psychedelic Easter egg.
Of course. So this week we're going to be, I hope you had a nice holiday weekend if you celebrate that holiday, Easter. If you celebrate Easter, some people do, some people don't. And I'm never about the person. I don't usually celebrate it. So to me, it's like, okay. Oh, in fact, I think Sunday morning I woke up and I was like, oh, it's Easter, isn't it? And Fred Hawk was like, yeah. And I was like, oh.
And then, of course, it was a combined holiday, and the much bigger holiday in Colorado is the 420 aspect. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. And
blessed be.
I thought it was hilarious that those two were on the same day, and everybody was making jokes about it, of course.
Yes.
So that was also hilarious. And then, but I think the funniest meme I seen was when the Grinch stole the bunny rabbit's basket.
That was hilarious.
That's really funny. If you didn't see that, I'm sorry that you didn't see it.
There's some pretty funny things out there.
You should check it out. So hopefully you had a nice holiday, and hopefully spring is happening for you. Hopefully things are taking off and moving forward. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on for most of you. That things are kind of, moving forward and moving on. And hopefully, but there's still probably not 100% resolution. Cause we do have some stuff going on, and that's what we're here to talk about this week. Since last fall, we were dealing with Mars moved from Cancer into Leo, and then in Leo it turned around and went retrograde. And as a result of that, it was opposite Pluto. So it was opposite Pluto. It was like going into Leo. It was opposite Pluto, kept going. Then it turned around and came back and was opposite Pluto again. And then it's turning around and going back now for the final pass. And I'm kind of going, thank God. Okay, like I think we've had enough of this Mars thing especially opposite Pluto, because both of those planets are so much alike. The thing that worries me a little bit is that, so Pluto's at 3 degrees Aquarius. Mars is going to come into 3 degrees Leo by the end of the week. And it's in a T-square. It's in a square to the sun, which is now in Taurus. So happy birthday to Taurus people. And what I want to say about that is that that's going to be that Taurus has a lot to do with investments.
Well, we've seen quite a unbelievable market crash over the last while. And
right. So and considering that Pluto
T-square sets up for the week and kind of hangs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much there all week. Wow. And the thing about that also is that I was thinking about this is that Pluto's in Aquarius, which is about the collective. And Mars is in Leo, which can be, in its toxicity, can be arrogant or self-centered. And then in a square to this Taurus sun, oh my gosh, in a square to this Taurus sun, apparently I got it right. In a square to this Taurus sun makes it feel like this is like some stubbornness or something like that. This This is like, this T-square will perfect later in the week. But I also noticed that the moon was conjunct Pluto this morning, and so I didn't quite back up the thing because this is set for right now, actually. But this morning it was on moon was on Pluto. So if you were feeling agitated, grumpy this morning, you didn't feel like getting going, it's probably the moon. All right. And it wasn't like void or anything like that. It just was conjunct Pluto in that opposition to at Mars at the same time and in a square to the sun. So I feel like when the moon is in a square to the sun, it keeps you, somehow your emotions keep you from being all that you can be.
Right. I was just going to say it's the combustion of having Mars and Leo, that's fire, and having the moon and Pluto in Aquarius, which is an air sign. And what happens when you've got an amplification of the wind blowing on fire? It's combustible. And with the sun in Taurus, that's like the grounding element of it. I think that is probably the best part of it. Like, lean into the sun element in Taurus, because that's going to keep, a more conservative, grounded approach. Because grounded, obviously, Taurus is Earth, right?
Yeah.
In this configuration, we have no water, but you still have that stellium in Pisces. But in this transit what we're looking at here,
that T-square is just
makes you go, whoa, gosh, this feels very, the word that just keeps coming to me is combustible.
And I think it was, I don't think it was Anne Ortley. It was a different astrologer. Oh, it's that mundane astrologer. She's, you can look her up on YouTube, Soulstrology. She talks a lot about politics and things. And she was saying, so if you didn't know, when the inauguration happened with the president, the sun was with Pluto at that time at the top of the sky. The sun is always at the top of the sky during an inauguration, because that's why it's done at that time. Like, the people that originally set up the inauguration were probably astrologers. Okay. So they set it up so that the sun would be at the top of the sky, which sun represents leadership, okay, in mundane astrology, and it was at the top of the sky. But then it was in Pluto, and it was conjunct. Then it was in Aquarius, and it usually is because of the time of year. And then, but this time it was conjunct Pluto, right? And so now I feel like that was like our first warning. And that's what she was saying, is she was said that this spring, when it comes into a square, that we're going to start to really see the effects of this inauguration, the long-term effects, especially in Taurus. And she was talking about like the market and things like that, because that's what Taurus represents. So I wouldn't be surprised to see things in the market get worse. There might be some effort to rectify it, just because that's usually what a square is but I worry that that's not exactly what's going to happen, just because usually when we think of leaders in our country these days, most of them are pretty toxic men. And so with Mars and Leo, that's going to represent the more toxic side. And the toxic side of Mars and Leo is absolutely like aggression and fighting and moving, arrogance and only caring about yourself and things like that. And Pluto in Aquarius is quite the opposite of that, even in its toxicity. It's leaders. I feel like this is very much like the Mars in Leo and the Pluto in Aquarius is like what we're seeing right now with like the protests, where there are leaders in the protests, right? People taking power and control and fighting over power and control within the collective. Like that things must change. Like they're like ready to rip down the government walls. You know what I mean? And with big protests being planned this May, I would not be surprised to see some pretty intense things go down as far as like people protesting and people standing up against the power and control in the government, and with it in a square to Taurus like that. So what she also said is when the sun gets in Leo, which I think is like in the middle of the summer, is that when the sun is opposite Pluto, we will see the first sort of like papow from this inauguration.
Wow.
So yeah, so and I don't think she said that it actually could be the end.
And we should
it.
also explain what a T-square is. What does that mean?
Sure.
So a T-square is when you have an opposition, and we've been talking about the opposition of Mars and Pluto, which is now also this morning, the moon was conjunct Pluto. Now it'll be separating as the day goes on. And so what happens is that bottom aspect of the triangle, the top of it is the T-square squaring the sun in Taurus, but it's also squaring Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus has been hanging out in Taurus for all year and part of last year, and it's going to be eventually moving out of Taurus. But right now it's in Taurus and so is the sun. And so a square is when you have a challenging aspect. It's asking you to do something. You got to go left or you got to go right. You got to say yes or you got to say no. And that is not always easy for folks. It can be great opportunity. It can be an opportunity to go, okay, I'm going to do this. And you make a decision. But the fact that Taurus is involved, Taurus is a fixed sign. And Taurus is like the slowest to change in the zodiac. They're the last ones to change. The first ones to change are the mutables.
Actually, the cardinals.
Or the cardinals.
Yeah.
And then the mutables, and then the fixed. And so the kind of change that the world, this T-square is creating, in addition to be combustible, is also oppositional. Because it's a square. So it's saying, which side are you on? And that's what it feels like to the whole world right now. It feels like we're bifurcating in so many different ways. And those changes are going to get increasingly uncomfortable. And people are realizing, wow, here we are.
Yeah, and I think on a personal level, for your personal life, I think with the sun in a square, so you want to pay attention to where Aquarius and Leo are, where they begin in your chart, and that will have a lot of information about exactly what parts of your life this will affect. Okay, so where is Leo and Aquarius in your chart? So if you can look at those houses, that'll give you a good clue as to where. Okay, and wherever Mars is, it's probably pushing you to take action, and Pluto might be sort of tearing things down. Maybe things have fallen apart a little bit and it's time for you to rebuild control or take control or rebuild somehow. And so any of that kind of thing that's going on, that's probably the T-square. And Taurus is, going to be somewhere in your chart. And that's the area that you have to kind of and I would say that automatically be conservative. Where is the sun in Taurus? And so think about it. Okay, so like, what's changing in your life? What do you have to change in your life? What is asking to be changed? The good news about this T-square, which could be difficult because you're trying all week long, we're going to be looking for solutions to problems that we're experiencing. that have something to do with Aquarius and Leo, okay, in our charts. And you also want to look at, where's your sun at, because that's who rules, that's who Mars is talking to. And where's Uranus at, because that's who Pluto's talking to. And with the sun in a square to Taurus like that, whatever's in Taurus, the sun's in there now, it's going to light it up. And so that's really about your personal life. Like, in what parts of your life is that affecting? And it could be like relationships or personal life, or what in your life needs to change, what's asking to be changed. And the good news is during that time, while you're making those changes, while you're visiting those changes, they are trying to put you on your life path, because Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus, and it's in a conversation with Saturn and the North Node and Venus, all piled up over in that water sign of Pisces. And they're all preparing to move, including Uranus. Uranus is also going to move signs, and it's in a trine to the South Node. So it's asking you, what from your past needs to change? Like what lesson, when have you seen this before in your past? What did you do then? Was it the right thing or the wrong thing? Or how could you apply a lesson from that past situation to now and help you resolve this problem? So that's kind of, and I've been dealing with my own stuff too. I've been actually challenged with exactly that. Mine's in relation to like career and stuff and home, and so you want to be questioning yourself about how you're living your day-to-day life. Really take a look at where is Leo, what house is Leo and Aquarius in. That's really where you want to be looking at. Okay. Hi, Melissa. Hey, Carrie. It's great to have you with us. Welcome. So like I said, hey, Donna. Hi, Donna.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy day. That's because Mars and Pluto are in opposition. So yeah, that's understandable. And I'm glad you're here. We're going to try to help you get through and have a good strategy for this week. And so I feel like whatever is happening, whatever actions you are called to do, try to listen, try to take that moment to just see if, hey, Annie, to just see if that's like, think about your past. Don't be afraid to reflect on what has happened in the past, even if it's the most recent past.
Well, because you have this Mars-Pluto opposition, like Hollis said, this is the third pass. So if something comes up, like, God, I feel like I dealt with this like 6 months ago. But you're not imagining things. That's totally true. This same opposition. Now, I happen to feel this opposition acutely because my moon is at 0 Leo. So I am so ready for this to move on.
Mars is just parked on top of your moon.
So irritating. And
it never feels good when Mars is on your moon.
Or
never.
With that opposition of Pluto. But I really felt when Pluto, which is such a slow mover, finally moved off of 0 Aquarius, I was like, oh my God. When it got to like 3 degrees, it was just like...
Yeah, we had a hard time with that because my Saturn and her moon are just 1 degree apart. So.
Yeah, exactly. So the pressure, that's often what I would describe in astrology, when you realize that there's a pressure that's, and it could be elemental, it could be the fixed, the cardinal, or the mutable. Is it the water, the air, the earth, the fire? Which planet? What that planet says in that zodiac sign, right? Because we talked about what happened when Mars went from a fire sign, which it is a fire sign, it rules Aries, but it's in Leo. And what happens when it's in water and Cancer? It's like, oh, Mars does not like to be in Cancer. But I'll tell you, when it finally moved away from my moon, I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
So these conversations between the planets, their placements, if this sounds like gibberish to you, this is what I'm just going to say. This is why Hollis is such an incredible astrologer and well worth taking the time. Give yourself the gift and get a reading, because you don't have to understand what we're saying, all the astrology parts. Hollis will help you understand exactly what it's saying in your chart for you at this time, what to pay attention to, what to lean into. And it's a really great thing to give yourself. So I'm just going to say that, because I know a lot of this can sometimes sound like, what?
And so the other thing, I try to say exactly what it means, like
Yeah.
Mars is trine Neptune. What does that mean? It means that the action that you take right now could be towards, especially the actions that you take towards your visions and dreams, could help you manifest those visions and dreams. And it's in a sextile to Uranus, so that means it puts you on your life path. So any visions and dreams that you have that you're trying to manifest right now, follow it. Take those actions. Don't hesitate, because there's a good conversation that although there might be some problems, try to resolve them by following Uranus, by following your life path. Okay, Uranus and life path. Uranus can sometimes be surprises, so you might be surprised to be like, do I really want to do that again? Or should I don't know. I guess I didn't expect this. There could be some unexpected piece of this, okay? And that's okay. Just try to accept the unexpected, which could be hard for people that have more fixed placements, but try to accept the unexpected and then just move on with your visions and dreams. That's really what the whole sky is saying all week long. I mean, pretty much all week, that's what it's saying. It's saying, take care of yourself, put yourself forward. It's saying, make sure that you take the action towards your visions and dreams right now, because Aries is I am what? And so what are you putting after I am? I am healed. I am happy. I am healing. I am psychic. I am, what are you? And that's what Spirit wants you to tap into. So like for me recently, I've been saying, I am a writer. I am a writer. So I need to get to my book, right? I need to get to writing it. And I have the whole book in my head. It's so funny. I have all these books in my head and I'm like, clearly I should be writing. Okay. So I am a writer. And so I need to kind of own that. And that's what I've been working on this week. So maybe share in the chat what if you've had an I am recently come through your head. That's this entire thing. That's the T square. That's Uranus talking to Neptune and Saturn and the whole conversation, the whole chart. That's really what it's asking you.
I love that. Right on. I think that's great.
Yeah. And so most of the week, this is happening. Just gonna say, it's most of the week. It doesn't really change much, except that there are a couple void moons, and I'll let you know when the T square perfects, because it will get stronger throughout the week. Okay. So this week it's been going for the weekend, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger throughout the week. And on Tuesday, we will see a lot of the same conversations between the planets, a lot of the same theme. You're trying to resolve a pretty big challenge in your life. It's probably been going on since fall, or sort of building up or falling apart since fall. And, and the good news is that Monday and Tuesday are probably the weekdays are the hardest, I would say, because Monday and Tuesday, the T squares are starting to get stronger and stronger, and Uranus is square the moon, but it does go void that night, Tuesday night.
So let me just explain that if you've never heard us and you don't know what a void of course moon is. The moon changes signs faster than any other aspects in the sky, planets. And so the moon changes zodiac signs about every 2.5 days. And so, as we know, the moon takes a month, 28 days to cycle around, and it's changing every couple of days. And so that moment between when it changes from one sign to the next and it doesn't have any aspects, there's a moment where it's the in between, and they call it the void. And the void is when a lot of astrologers will tell you, take a break. This is a good time to take a break because there's no energy. And if you're a Cancer ruled sign, Cancer rising, Cancer moon, Cancer sun, you're ruled by the moon. You want to know about void of course moons because it will affect you more than anything. You'll be like, God, I don't have any energy. Pay attention. So sometimes, depending on what the sign is that it's switching from, Hollis will feel like, whoa, I have like such a wet blanket on me. So if you work night shift and you're on night shift, it's going to be void moon all night long on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Now, most of us who sleep during the night, perfect.
Hopefully I'll sleep. Hopefully I'll sleep well that night. But
right?
sometimes it does affect my sleep. It will be moving into Aquarius, so it's hard to say. But out
of Aquarius, which is an air sign, into Pisces, which is a water sign.
Right.
Now it likes being in Pisces because it's a water sign, right? It rules Cancer, and so when the moon is in a water sign, it's the ocean of emotion, and it's let's all come together and feel groovy. And so, there's this void moment, and you can just imagine the difference going from something that is Aquarius air, which is a fixed sign, right? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, that fixed energy to Pisces, which is all mutable. And I don't know what a boundary is.
Right. I was just thinking, though, that sometimes when we come out of a void moon, so, be prepared that maybe Wednesday morning, it could be a little emotionally challenged. Sometimes when we come out of a void moon, things can get a little shaky, and then they usually even out depending on the energy at the time.
Do your morning practice. If you do your yoga, you'll regulate way faster. 20 minutes, and you'll be like...
I'm laughing because of what Holly said. Holly Chenevet said, "Is that why I feel like a lunatic?" Mars opposite Pluto, you probably have some placements that are there, Holly.
That's funny.
So that's kind of the thing.
Good job, you guys.
Yeah. So then Donna Carter in the group said, Hollis is amazing. I can't wait to look at this chart concerning this particular time. Anxious energy all around. I understand. It's absolutely
totally true. Everyone is feeling it. And then people tell you, oh, the last time Neptune was in Aries, and they list off 1940, 1860, 1776. I mean, these...
And the last time the nodes were in this placement and we had these transits was like the beginning of the patriarchy, which is like what Anne Orley was saying. It was like...
and I totally want to give credit to all the other astrologers we listened to who figured this stuff out.
Yeah.
I didn't. And it's just that kind of, oh my word. Yeah. So if you feel like there's some pressure and anxious fire energy, it's because
it is. It is really intense. Donna said that, welcome Cheryl, by the way. And Donna said, I'm also a writer, a reader, and an admin, and I can put one foot in front of the other, physically and spiritually. And you know what? Donna saying that's hilarious that you say that, physically and spiritually, because the conversation that is making us say, I am this, is Aries, and Aries is very physical. It's very physical bodied. It usually represents athletes or exercise, and it's ruled by Mars, and it tends to be very physical, and the planet in it that just moved in there that's at 0 degrees just last week we talked about. And that's where some of this energy is coming from, is Neptune, which represents spirituality and your vision and dream going forward, which is what I'm saying, right? But it's hilarious that you say that both physically and spiritually, because that's really what Neptune and Aries are about. They're about bringing the mind, not the mind so much, but the body and the soul together. The body and the soul. Now, if we add Mercury in there, which Mercury is actually in there, then we get the mind. Okay, so then we got mind, body, and soul. And I'm laughing because you have that mind. We're doing this event, this expo this weekend, Mind Body Expo.
Body, mind, spirit,
Body, mind,
expo.
Spirit Expo. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Which is, I'm an artist. Me, I'll own what I am. There we go. Because
Right.
I've been creating, getting ready for the show.
And I think you have to own it, you know? I think you have to own it for the show.
And you know, I believe in that exercise, and I was doing that. You could look at my journals from 2 or 3 years ago of doing the pages of I am.
Probably when Saturn was on your...
Yeah, it totally was. I was doing my second Saturn return. Yeah. I'm a musician. I'm an artist. I'm a business owner. You know, all those things where you go, yeah, I'm an author. I'm a storyteller. You know, whatever it is for you.
Yeah. So, you know, Holly, if you're a Cancer, then your Mars just left your sign and the moon is in Aquarius today. So that you have to pay attention to where the moon is, what aspects the moon is in. If the moon is void, you should know it. So you should take note that the moon will be void Tuesday night from 9:55 to 5 a.m. That's Mountain Time. So you can convert it to your own time zone. But that, you know, you should know when the moon is void and what sign the moon is in.
So there's apps that you can get for your phone, and there's some free apps that you can get that'll tell you the relationship with the moon, your strongest aspect relationship with the moon every single day, and I'd recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple of different astrology apps on my phone that tell me this is what's going on for you today.
Yeah,
and it helps you go, oh, so literally. One of the aspects I was told about was that it was important today was transiting Venus square my Mercury. And so it was careful what you say, take a moment, breathe, you know, mindful about the words you use today. So I was like, oh, okay. Got it. You know, Mercury, of course, language, right? So it's in a square, you want to pay attention. You want to know. Oh, man, don't just go flying off and be careless with your words because they can cut.
Right. And Brianna said, my husband and I had a reading with Hollis, and we took action to lower our house. Like we talked about, I called the realtor with a number and I had in my head. And he said it was a great number. I'm trusting my intuition. You got this, Brianna. And remember, listen to the experts, because Virgo rules I think either your house of money, I think. So listen to the experts. If the expert says it's good, take his advice. And that's also a very important part. So I'm glad that you did that, Brianna. And I wish you the best of luck in selling your house and getting on your move. I understand how important that is for you. And Ed asked, what if your natal Mars is 2 degrees Aquarius? Okay. Opposed rising. Okay. So it's over here on your descendant. At your 3 degrees Leo. Ooh. Conjunct the Leo moon. Okay. So your moon is conjunct your rising. Your moon is on your rising, I'm assuming there,
so
Ed?
Mars is going to be there on your Leo placement.
Yeah, so what I would say is that you have Pluto pretty much, well, Pluto has been on your Mars, has been kind of barely touching it, and now just recently went across it. I'm wondering about your emotional state, Ed.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about Are you changing who you are? Are you changing how you present yourself? Particularly because Leo tends to be a bit of a performer. So are you thinking about changing how you present yourself, especially as a performer? This is the final pass. So that's pretty important that you listen to that and that you implement any ideas that you've had, any thoughts about it, or sort of like intuition, or maybe some things have gone down since last year, especially like late summer last year, like August, September, October, in there in the early fall. And then through the fall and the winter, you probably thought about it. Maybe it even came up again. And now it's on its way out. It's going to have something to do with maybe how you view the collective, how you present yourself in the world, the people that you're attracted to or that are attracted to you, the people that you end up around, and your day-to-day life. And it also has to do with a lot with how you present to the world, especially with that Leo energy. And with the Leo moon, that's a Leo moon, is very performative, and it tends to express in a way that's like, here I am, and they expect to be seen. And so if you're feeling unseen or something like that, you might want to make any changes that you've been thinking about, assuming that they're healthy changes or possible changes that maybe you're not sure about them. But I would go ahead and follow through with them, or try new approaches or new things. That's what I would say to that. Uranus is in Cancer. So that also tells me that since Mars moved through that as well, that spirit is asking you to change something. And probably change something that's pretty darn important about who you are. It could have some health aspects, depending on if your Mars in Aquarius is in the 6th house or the 7th house. And so the 6th house is health. So it could also be some health challenges if you've been struggling with that, Ed. I'm sorry, my heart goes out to you, and I know that can actually, or wellness, just like it's something as simple as I've got to lose weight, or I got to lower my cholesterol, or something like that. Pluto sometimes can bring thoughts about death, or the end, or it can sometimes shift about power and control. And when it's opposite Mars like that, it has something to do with action in regards to those things. Okay. And so sometimes you might even teeter back and forth between those two. Like, I'm going to take action, or maybe I'm just going to let this be, or something like that. Okay. So that's really the most important thing there, Ed. Good luck. I'll be sending my good vibes to you. It sounds like the moon is right on your rising. And yeah, this week is where it's coming up, Ed, this week.
Yeah, right.
Okay. You're welcome, Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, Brianna. You told him it was in your hands. Good.
And in a few minutes, when we finish going through the whole week, Hollis goes through the entire wheel of the zodiac for each and every sign, so you know how the week will impact you relative to your sun, moon, and rising sign.
Yeah, so this is early in the week, Monday and Tuesday, that this is really intense.
Yeah, it's
Wednesday,
like the biggest thing of the week.
Yeah, Wednesday is okay, except that we come into that perfection of Mars and Pluto across from each other. We actually come into a perfect. They're both at exactly 3 degrees, so that's you, Ed.
Wow.
Heads up, man. Friday. It's a perfect opposition like that, both in a square to the sun and Taurus. And so, I don't know. I'm just sitting here thinking for a minute. If Aquarius is over here and Leo's over here, that's really has a lot to do with what you present to the world, Ed. Because the sun there in that T-square will be up at the top of your sky, which is what you present to the world. So there's also a void moon this evening, on Friday evening. So that's kind of good. That's going to give a chill feeling to things. It's dramaless.
So I just, yeah, but somebody said that they're a Cancer, and I just want to say I'm going to go back a day. So when the moon enters Pisces on Wednesday, like I said, the moon likes being in Pisces, and then it's going to light up. So if you're a Pisces, it's going to light up the North Node, then Saturn, then Venus,
It's
then
going to light up
Neptune,
whatever
then
you got in
Mercury.
Pisces.
We've talked about that stellium. A stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign. It makes for a super big amplification of the Piscean and Aries energy, water and fire. So again, if you're a moon sign, all of those things will ba-bing, 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 and each time the moon passes that, it'll have a conversation. So the moon is mom, it is emotion, it is
Intuition.
It's our moon rules Cancer, which is home, and that's that thing we've been talking about called patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
So when it hits the North Node is about our future and our destiny. Then when it hits Saturn is dad, Saturn is authority, Saturn is structure, Saturn is purpose and intention and, getting it done. What are you here to do? Then then the moon will talk to Venus, and Venus is all about what do you value and relationship. And then it'll talk to Neptune. What are your dreams? And then it'll talk to Mercury, and what are you communicating? How are you thinking? What are you saying? How are you going about it? Then it's Chiron, and Chiron is all about emotion, healing, the wounded healer, and what are we learning about the trials and tribulations that we go through? Because most of the time we realize in pretty good amount of hindsight, oh, well, that challenge sucked. I sure did learn a lot of what I needed to learn, and I wouldn't have learned it if I hadn't gotten, knocked off my center so that I had to deal with that.
Right.
So that's the moon this week. Ba-bing, all through Pisces and Aries. And then on Friday, it'll have that void moment where it goes from a fire sign back into an earth sign, where water into fire. It'll be at that beginning place of astrology. The beginning of the wheel is 0 Aries. It's a world point. Every time there's something on a 0 Aries, like
Neptune's hanging out there all week.
it's like the universal reset point, and the whole world is watching. So those are usually, pay attention to the news on Friday and Saturday, or because
especially Friday, Thursday, Friday. There'll probably be something that shows up in the news. Neptune's opposite the South Node. I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not surprised to hear people saying, looking back at history and saying, this is what the Nazis looked like. This has happened before, and people reflecting to the history. Of course, we haven't been an oligarchy before, but if you don't know what that word means, it essentially means that millionaires are running the country. And, that's obviously a problem.
Yeah, billionaires,
sorry, not millionaires, billionaires. And so it tends to be, I think the Neptune opposite the South Node is like, is this really what you want?
Right.
And that's why we keep seeing that, right? Even if you are a conservative Trump supporter, you're still seeing that they're saying, oh, the government was corrupt or whatever. Maybe it was. And reflecting, do you want that? Do you want that? And that's kind of the question that keeps coming up in our lives too, where the universe is saying, this is what's left. do you want that? Is this really what you want? And I've had to come to terms with that. And so just asking myself, is this really what you want? Is this really what you need? Is this really what you want to be doing right now? So by Friday, that's really going to be coming to mind I think for everyone.
Yeah. I'm be curious what the news is.
And for some of us, it'd be more powerful than others, depending on if you have placements. And some parts of it could be more strong for you, depending on your own personal astrology chart.
Correct. So Friday, if you can cut out early and take a break, Friday evening is a void of course moon. In Mountain Time, it's basically from 3 to 7:30, I'm going to say.
Yeah, dinner time.
If you can just take a break from there, that would be a good idea. Hopefully you don't have to do something at the end of the day on Friday, because there's just not going to be a lot of energy.
Right.
And then once the moon gets all the way into Aries full on 7:30, after that,
right,
you'll start to notice there's some energy.
And there's another void moon Saturday night. I was like, I guess the moon is moving fast somehow, because there's another one really Saturday close. Night.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same deal. Quick. It's in the evening. Yeah, but it's that night. It's Saturday night.
Wow.
So that's why I thought it was odd, but I double checked it.
I know.
And I was like, shouldn't it be like 2 days?
Really?
But I guess because it was in Aries, it was moving fast.
Yeah.
Aries tends to be fast. So.
And again, it's when it has no aspects. So if it's once it's out of those aspects that we were looking at, if that's what also determines how the length of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting. We'll see what we'll see what happens as we go into Friday, Saturday. But
yeah,
hopefully you guys understand now a little more about how it works for you. So obviously it's a new moon on Saturday, the 27th. It's a new moon. And when we have a new moon in Taurus this time, the moon in Taurus, it's an earth sign. And of course, Taurus loves all things beautiful and done just right. And so the moon is appreciative of the great hosting Taurus does when they're in that sign. Practical and taking care of, making sure, like a good host, like a good party host, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody at the table is going to be well fed, right? Nobody's going to go home hungry at a Taurus's party.
Right. So I think most of the intensity will kind of build up from today and tomorrow into Friday. And then over the weekend, we'll have I think we're going to have more time to emotionally process what happened this week.
Right. And so of course, new moons are when you set your intentions. You really want to take that, it'll be interesting. I didn't even realize it. So that void moon is during the dark moon. So you have a really deep moon.
So it doesn't count conjunctions as aspects?
Well, the sun moon conjunction is a new moon.
Right. But I'm just saying it doesn't count that.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the Ptolemaic aspects get read from, because I've seen plenty of aspects when I do the charts based on our snapshot of time.
Right.
So I don't exactly know.
Okay, I was just asking if you knew. Okay.
I don't.
Okay. So the Mars, and I think this week is really about that Mars-Pluto opposition for most of us, and it's going to be in a square to Taurus. Yeah. So, take a look at, also, Ed, you want to take a look and see where Taurus is in your chart. And, I would have a good look at that. And because Taurus should be at the top of your sky somewhere. And if the MC is up there, it's probably going to have to do with your career. And it could even, if Aquarius is in the house of health, if Pluto isn't, those first couple of degrees are in the house of health, then it's going to have to do with that. If it's in the 7th house, it's relationships. Okay. And if it's in, and over on your rising, if it's in the 12th house above the rising, it tends to be something you can't see. If it's in the 1st house, then it tends to be your identity. Okay. So then the next thing I'm going to do is take a look at the horoscopes for the week. And so remember that this is best used for the sun, moon, and the sun, rising, and moon signs. And I'm going to go ahead and do this for Friday when Pluto and Mars come into perfection. I think that's the most important time because because Mars is more, you feel it more when it's at its exact point, okay? It's just kind of its thing. You feel it more when that happens. And so I'm just making sure they're still. Yep, they are. Okay. And so I'm going to share this we're going to do for each sign. So if you don't know what your sun, moon, and rising are, you can easily figure that out. And if you're like, Hollis, I don't know anything about astrology, I'm going to say, get this. It's just a couple bucks. Get the beginner's guide astrology chart and use my code LIVE50. Use that. And you can get that at my website, divineandrogen.com/shop-2. I'll put it in the comments. And when you get the beginner's guide, that really helps you at least know these 3 signs, okay? And this is really helpful because if you at least know your sun, moon, and rising, anytime you are listening to a horoscope or reading a horoscope or anything like that, you want to know all 3 of them because your sun, moon, and rising will be the most important things to read over. And then what you do is you just kind of combine all 3 horoscopes for those 3 signs. If you have 2 planets or 2 points in one sign, then that sign is going to be more dominant. Okay. So Melissa, if you're Scorpio, where's your rising sign? Where's your moon sign? Tell the whole story, because we're only telling part of the story if you know where your sun sign is. And that's why I've put a link here to the beginner's guide. So while you might know your sun sign, and that's kind of helpful, you want to also look at your rising, especially your rising after you turn like 30, 40 years old. You become stronger into your rising sign than you do your sun sign. And and then your moon sign is your emotions. And so
don't you want to know how you're rocking and rolling?
Yeah. So you're going to want to know, like, how are you going to feel about this? Why are you feeling this way? Okay. And so wherever your moon sign is, you want to listen to that, and that will help us. Okay. So I'm going to share this. This is a software called Astro Gold that I use. It's a professional astrology software that allows you to do all sorts of fun things, including the death chart readings that I do, where I have up to like 4 charts at once. Okay. So first, this is for Aries. Aries, this is in relation to the Pluto, Mars, Sun T-square that will be happening. And this is a final pass of Mars to make this T-square for the final pass. And, this has been brewing up since last year. Something's been going on. Lots of things have come in and out, and you've had to make some decisions. Or you're feeling like you're being pushed towards making those decisions right now, especially in relation to your children or your romantic partner, or maybe it's a creative thing that you're doing. And the thing is that this is in relation to people that have power over you, or your boss, maybe your coworkers, possibly friends, those kinds of people in your life. There might be something that's been deteriorating, and that has a lot to do with your identity, Aries. And a lot of things are shifting for you anyway, because Neptune has moved into your sign. There's all kinds of action going on around for you, Aries. If you're feeling particularly intense, particularly about who you are and how you identify and how you're going to live this life, it's not your imagination. You're not making this up. It's actually happening. And for you, Aries, it's probably pretty intense. So I just want to tell you to hold on there, but still listen to that I am. Listen to that I am, because that's very important for you right now, Aries. Very important for you to listen to that and respond to that and take those actions that you're feeling, especially in response to anything that might be falling apart with friendships or people in control over you or anything like that. Any kind of action that you were thinking about taking, maybe you were thinking about taking some creative action about yourself. Go ahead and do that. Do that, Aries. It's very important for you to follow the energy that is pulling to you right now. Now, this would be for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Now, Taurus, this very much has to do with your career and your home. And what is it about your home that you are to take action with, Taurus? There's some sort of action that you have to take because this thing with your career has got to change, right? So whatever's been changing around career or whatever you've been thinking about changing, now's the time to take action. Because if you don't take action, you're probably going to be very frustrated, maybe with an investment that you've made or whatever it is. So whatever action that's been coming to mind for you, especially in relation to who you are and how you live your life, that is very important. Okay. So if there's some part of you that wants to change or take some sort of action, particularly in relation to your home, your house, your family of origin, or where you came from, that's very important for you to take that action now. Okay, Taurus, this week, take that action. Don't hesitate anymore. Just like pretend you're the bull and the red flag is driving you crazy. Just go. Okay. All right. So that's Taurus. Now this is for Gemini. This is for Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Oh, Gemini, this has had a lot to do with your community and and even your spirituality. Are you having a spiritual awakening? Is there something about higher learning that you're starting to feel like is really important to you? Maybe you need some sort of higher learning. Maybe you need some sort of connection or something. There's some sort of awakening happening for you right now, or maybe a pursuit of higher learning. And now's the time to take action. Now's the time to communicate that. Now's the time to look around in your community and see if that's available for you. Now's the time to do whatever reach out that you have to do, Gemini, to make that happen for yourself. You may not see how it's going to work out. You may not see like the final end to this, but you can get there. Just go ahead and take that action. Try to find balance with it. Try not to get too frustrated with it. But I'm pretty sure that this week you're going to feel it. You're going to have something inside of you that needs to happen and needs to be expressed. And I think you should do it. Okay? All right. So that's for Gemini. Gemini, I wouldn't be surprised if you felt like you had to get higher learning, or maybe you need some sort of education or something in order for you to achieve the transformation that you want to take. Okay? Or maybe it's leaving education. Okay? So that's Gemini. And now this is for Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. Cancer, this is going to have a lot to do with some action around money. And particularly even working around, maybe there's been some part of you that never believed you would do something. Maybe there's some taboo topics, even like maybe taxes or other parts of death or taxes or other taboo topics that maybe you don't want to talk about. Pluto is in your house of taboo topics, and it's parked there and across from Mars. It makes me think about money, huh? Is money a struggle right now? Is there something going on with money? Maybe it has to do with other people's money. And so I just want you to just slow down and tap into your resources, your friends around you, ask good questions. Maybe there's some investments or something like that, or some deeper understanding of investment that you have to come to completely understand how things work. Okay. And so you might have some some like struggle in that department in regards to money. If I was you, I would go slow. Okay, so while I'm telling everybody else to go ahead and take the action, I'm telling you, Cancer, to just pause and to check in with your friends, people that have power over you, co-workers, people like that you deal with, or somebody you work with. um those kinds of people might be able to help you resolve your problem. Okay, so if you're feeling some sort of issue around money or other people's money, then check in. Okay, and so that is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And it could, yeah, it could also have to do with like your values and other people, or taboo topics, which is like sex, death, taxes, the occult, astrology, those kinds of things. All right. And then this is for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Leo. Um boy, man, this is going to be intense for you, Leo, because Mars is going to move into the house of whatever your sun is in, or your rising, or your moon. And then if you're a Leo sun, moon, or rising, there's something on the other side. Maybe it's about relationships that is bothering you. Okay. Maybe it's something about relationships or your day-to-day life, or whatever that is that's asking to be changed. That you have to go ahead and take that action, especially right now with Taurus. Taurus would be in the house of career. So if there's something about your work and relationships, or maybe you just need to own things like we were talking about earlier. Because sometimes Leo can struggle with actually insecurity, even though they appear to be very secure. They're not always. And so you might need to take this moment to look back at that Neptune and Aries and say, I am. Because Mars is in the first house, on, if you are Leo rising, depending on the degree, of course. But Mars, Mars could be in your first house, and it will have something to do with your identity, which is very much that I am energy. This is what I am, and I'm going to create this. Maybe there's something that has to be expressed. It could be your health. Because see the left side where your rising is, where Leo is the first, in the first house is your identity. Could be how you look too, by the way, just saying. How you present to the world, what you look like. And that's the first couple of degrees of Leo there, in the first house. And then Pluto, depending exactly of the degree, if it's your rising, Pluto could be in your sixth house, which is health. Yes, it could have something to do with health, Leo. Yes. Pluto can always do with health, especially if it's life-threatening or scary. Okay, because Pluto tends to bring up fears, and tends to trigger near-death experiences, or facing your own mortality, any topics that have to do with death. Even if you're like, I'm not going to die, but this isn't the greatest, I have to deal with my cholesterol, right? Okay, that's Pluto. That's Pluto, right? It's like making you make the decision about, are you going to die in 5 years or 20 years? Okay, and Pluto's going to ask for that. Pluto's going to absolutely ask for that, particularly if it falls in the right place. So it could be really any person, really, as far as health goes, but it could be particularly for Leo, or especially Leo and Aquarius people. Okay, and probably Capricorn as well. So then let's keep going. This is for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is going to have a lot to do with your identity and probably relationships or your health or day-to-day life, okay? So it's really going to be pushing for you to say, I am. What are you? And what in your career is most important, Leo? What needs to be expressed in that department so that you can be who you truly are. Because once you express who you truly are in your career or in your expression to the world, it doesn't have to be your work. That will speak to that Pluto and Mars and sort of settle it down or balance it out. Okay. And so then we'll move on to Virgo. This is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Virgo, this has very much to do with your romantic partner or it's right on the edge because it's right on the edge. It's going to be right on the edge of all of these houses, I think. And so this is actually for Virgo, this is going to have something to do with your day-to-day life, your health. You've already been releasing things, Virgo, about your health. And so what in your health needs to change? What needs to come around? What do you need to own? You know, what action do you need to take that would make for better health or better wellness? And that's a lot of hard work, okay? And maybe you don't see exactly where you're going or exactly what to do, but just stay focused on it. And, you know, maybe a little time in meditation or any kind of spiritual situation might help. Also, maybe education, higher learning or higher education could also help you resolve, Virgo. And I know that you deeply respect education. So I'm just going to say, Virgo, this is a good time for you to just kind of allow things to come to you and then try to listen to them. Okay, go ahead and try to take the action, even if you don't see exactly where you're going. Okay, but it'll have something to do with your day-to-day life. Could be your work in the world, probably has to do with things that you do every day, and could have a lot to do with your wellness. Okay, Virgo? And that's for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And like I said, anyone could be noticing something about their health because of Pluto's strong connection to Mars there. Any sign could be feeling some health things just because of how Pluto often shows up, okay? Especially since Mars is usually has something to do with health things as well, okay? And so with Pluto and Mars opposite with each other, I have to say that it could be anyone, okay? And so if there's something coming up with health this week, I would listen to it, okay? I would listen to it. And for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you've been through so much. Oh, good grief. The last few years, the nodes were in your sign. You're so glad they've moved on. Things feel like they're trying to move on. And so this is mostly going to be resolution in relation to maybe children or your family, your home of origin or the home you live in and your career. Maybe it even has to do with the people that you work under, like, you know, your boss or whatever. Especially even with Leo and Taurus. And it could have a lot to do with other people's money or taboo subjects, sex, death, taxes. And, you know, this is Pluto opposite Mars. This is making you take action to get this resolved. And with Pluto in Aquarius, it's really, things may have been falling apart and you may be working to perfect them or fix them. And now is the time to do that. So with Mars opposite Pluto, I feel like that's a good time to take action. And, you know, you probably might have to deal with some parts that maybe you have to deal with something you don't want to deal with, or like a taboo topic of some sort, even like other people's money or something like that, Libra. So just hang in there and keep working at that. It will have something to do with your career and the people you work with, and likely maybe romantic relationships or the house you live in, or maybe both. So whatever's going on there, I assure you that you'll know what to do, especially when you really take the time to think about it. Maybe also a reading would help you, because the Taurus is in the 8th house, so that's the occult. So that's like tarot and astrology. Okay. All right. And so now as we get to Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Scorpio, oh boy. This has to do with the deepest emotional changes within you. This is probably the most intimate part of you. Pluto is sitting down on that, especially Scorpio risings. Pluto is sitting on that real deep, intimate part of you. And with Mars at the top of the sky in the 9th house, it is really it's really bringing on, especially that point, it's spirituality. Mars is saying, hello, wake up. Okay, so there's a spiritual awakening, there's higher learning, there's something you feel like you are trying to accomplish, and some action that you have to take, maybe in regards to relationships. So I would say that for Scorpio, to check in on the feelings that you're having, the transformations you've been having within, those private ones that you probably haven't told anyone about. I just want to say that just hold that in and take time to think about that. Take time to sit with that before you take any action this week, especially in regards to other people. Okay, so just take times to think about that. And with Neptune moving out of your house of creativity and into your house of day-to-day life, Scorpio, you'll probably recognize some changes happening within you, maybe even some desires about who you are and what you're doing. Okay, Scorpio, especially like deep down inside, because Pluto rules Scorpio and it's down on your IC. Okay. And it could have to do also with communication, community, your neighbors, people around you. You may also notice that it affects your home or where you live. Okay. Now, next is Sagittarius. Okay, so this is for Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Sagittarius, this has everything to do with money and taboo topics, spirituality, or more like taboo topics, which would be like, astrology and tarot and things like that. Okay. And with that 8th house placement, remember, this is taxes, this is other people's money, this is sex, this is death. These are topics we don't want to talk about, and you might be forced to deal with them somehow. And with Pluto in the 2nd house, totally currently sort of totally tumbling away at the money part of you, there could be some part of you that wants to take action in something. You should absolutely do that, particularly in relation to any creativity that's going on for you. So creative expressions is really good for you this weekend. Those are probably the best way to balance what's going on in your life in regards to money and other people's money and that kind of thing, right? So focus on your creativity, because that's really going to be what's good for you, or children, or romantic relationships, particularly very close romantic relationships. That's what the 5th house is about. The 5th house is about those things that we really love that are closest to us. So that's why it's usually children, romantic relationships, and even creative expressions, because usually, if you know anything about an artist, if they made it, it's very important to them. And when they sell it, it's like, it's like you pulled their hair out or something, So, just be aware of that. Okay, Sagittarius. And for Capricorn, this is for Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. The thing about Capricorn is that, okay, so, you've already been through a lot, like over the pandemic and stuff when Pluto was in there, and now Pluto's finally left you alone. So you're probably like, yeah, just get out, okay? And so, but the thing is that there's still some parts of your identity, Capricorn, that you're still forming and still trying to put together. And with the relationships that you're in, and in regards to the home that you live in, or your family of origin, or any of that, even the childhood home or whatever like that, okay? That kind of energy is still coming up for you and pushing on your identity about who you are and the relationships you're in now. So pay attention to those, and I would stay focused on, your home, what makes you feel at home, and your personal investments, and allow those new identity shifts to take hold. Allow that new identity to step in and take, because Pluto's going to be moving further away into Aquarius, and I think that that's going to start to shift your energy away from those big changes in your identity that have happened. And now, as we move forward in this with Mars could have you take some action in regards to relationships. All right, so that's for Capricorn. And for Capricorn to Aquarius. And Aquarius, this is for the sun, moon, and rising. And the thing about this, Aquarius, is this is everything you are, all that you are. Pluto is in your sign. It is changing who you are. You might feel like you are falling apart at the seams, or there's some of your seams that seem to be coming apart. So Aquarius, it's okay. Allow those to happen. Allow those relationships to leave you. Allow that day-to-day work to leave you. Allow that to change. Allow those things to change, Aquarius, because as you embrace that change, things will get better. And just look to your community. Look to the community that you're surrounded by, your neighbors, your siblings, your people that are closest to you. Allow for them to support you, okay? And with this pull on you and this support, so I'm really sure that you, as long as you follow suit with your community, I think you'll be fine. Reach to your community for support if you're feeling really torn apart about whatever is going on with your identity, relationships, and probably your work, day-to-day life. Okay? All right. So now next is that's Aquarius.
The last one. We're going to do a little drum roll for you. Pisces!
Pisces. Oh my goodness, Pisces. Whew. You have survived Saturn in your sign, but it's not over yet. Okay, whew. That's what I'm going to say, yeah, Pisces. Right? And you probably don't even know what's going on. You don't even know how you're falling apart, really. But you know that your day-to-day life is changing. And so you can't see exactly what's going on, and maybe you've been dealing with death, maybe you've found out you're a death midwife, or maybe you've come to terms with your relationship with hospitals and institutions, or maybe you've woken up in your psychic abilities, or you suspect that you might have some psychic abilities. Whatever is going on, I'm going to say the action that's being asked to be taken in your 6th house, which is your day-to-day life, is best understood through money. So I would, be careful about your money. Don't overspend. Be careful about how you spend the money, and be careful about what decisions you might make in that department. Especially with Taurus there, it's asking you to be more conservative in the money department. So don't, Pisces, hold on to your cash. Don't overspend. Okay. So, just wait and try to take it one step at a time, because I know a lot is changing in your life right now. Okay, Pisces, man, you're on a ride, and the North Node is in there, and it's probably going to be going on for the next year and a half. So just go slow, allow it to unfold. Don't resist it. The more you resist it, the more uncomfortable you'll be. Okay.
Woo, good job. My goodness. I'm always blown Boy, that is just a lot.
All
Intense.
right. So
Mel-
Melissa said my hubby's a Virgo. Okay. Yeah, it's good to listen to your partners because then you'll be like, oh, this was in the astrology. Okay. So yeah, okay. So Melissa said maybe that's why I'm having so much trouble this week with the loss of my son. My emotions and feelings are kicking my butt. Yeah. It's probably true, Melissa. Yeah. It is. That's why I try to keep track of astrology. And if you want to have a deeper understanding of that, Melissa, I do a death chart reading. It's one of a kind. I'm the only person that I know of that does it. And what I do is I take the astrology of like your son, and your son and you and the at the time of your son's death, and just kind of put it all together and try to make sense of it for you. And I think it's a very powerful reading and it's one of a kind. But only get it when you're ready to have the universe's perspective of the loss of your son. When you're ready to have the universe's perspective. Um, yeah. Okay, Melissa, I told you about it. You can find the reviews in the group. There are hundreds of people that have had it that love it. And there are so many reviews in the group I can't even tell you. There's also reviews on Google. So Bianca said I'm feeling more more Capricorn.
It's true. You and I have the same birthday, December 20th. Yeah, I really listen to the Capricorn as well because we're so at the end of the sign. Capricorn is really appropriate to listen to. That's so funny.
Yeah, so like what they're talking about is if you have the sun or the moon or even your rising, like in the first couple of degrees, like 0 degrees or 1 or 2 degrees, or 29 or 30 degrees, then it's very close to the next sign. So then you might want to listen to the next sign, particularly if it's your sun or rising. I think that's even more important.
Yeah. So on my rising's 27 degrees. So I listen to the next one.
Because you don't usually resonate with Cancer emotions, do you?
Not really.
Even though your moon is at 0 degrees Leo.
Yeah, I usually listen closely to the Leo.
And I think it might have been Christopher Renstrom who said that it's the later degrees. So like 29,
yeah,
it goes to the next, but it doesn't necessarily apply to the 0. I wonder if that's true.
Anna Botticelli says the same thing. She always, so we've talked about this before. If you look at the wheel of the astrology chart, of course, a circle is 360 degrees divided by 12. Each sign is 30 degrees. But then you can go even deeper and divide. There's what's called decadents that are 10 degrees of each sign. So when you're in the third decan of that sign, the last 10 degrees, in other words, you really want to pay attention to the next sign as well. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, the zodiac in Western astrology are always in the same order. And so if you just like Google a cheat sheet for astrology houses and whatever, it should put them in order for you. Aries should be on the left, and then it should go down. Usually astrology starts on the left hand side and goes down and around. Okay. And so, if you take the astrology class, I teach about the horizon and what it means. Bright Hawk and I help you understand all the zodiac signs and how the chart is sort of separated into points, like the upper half and the lower half and all of that kind of thing, which is good to understand, because like if you have most of the planets up in the top half of your chart or in the lower half of your chart, that will dictate how much you present to the world. So like some people that are very inward, that aren't very public and all of that kind of thing, and they're very private people, they'll have most of their planets in the bottom half of the chart.
That's right.
And then people that are very public, celebrities, sometimes will have many planets above the horizon. And some people, like, I'm pretty balanced. I have some below and some above. I think you do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a lot on the lower half of the chart, but I also have some significant placements on the upper half.
Right, like your moon and all that. Yeah. So different people have different things, but it gives you a good idea of, like, for those of you that do have a lot above or below, it can help you have a deeper understanding just looking at that. Where are most of the planets? Are they above the horizon? Like, if you start from the left and just cut it in half, are most of them above or below? Okay.
Yeah.
And Donna said Pisces, Aquarius, Libra. Okay. Donna, man, I bet you're having a really intense time right now, because Pisces and Aquarius is, boy, seeing lots of energy right now, because Aquarius has got Pluto and all of the action going on in Pisces right now. There's a lot of action going on in Pisces that we've been talking about the last few weeks with Mercury and Venus in retrograde. Oh, it's just super intense. So hang in there, Donna. We're here with you to try to bring you support. That's why we do this. We hope that it makes your life a little bit easier, you guys. Oh my gosh. Melissa said December 20th is her son's birthday. What? Oh my gosh, that's so wild,
Wow.
Melissa. That's wild. Yeah, Melissa, I would definitely
Wow.
I don't know if you have to see it as scary. When you're ready to come to acceptance, that's when you're truly ready to come to acceptance. That's when you come see me for the death chart reading. Okay. Bianca said my sun is 28, but my moon is 29 degrees too. Whew.
Yeah. So in both of those cases, I would listen for both signs. For
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yep.
So the other thing that's kind of a trip about, I'll just explain the world point thing for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The world points, and Hollis mentioned celebrities often have a lot of placements, important placements at the top of their chart. They also have placements often on the world points. The world points are the 0 cardinal signs. So that would be 0 Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and what begins the season? Virgo begins the season, right? So the ones that begin the season, right? The cardinal signs. And so the 0 point or world point, and then it becomes the halfway between the two is 15 degrees fixed signs and 7 degree mutable signs.
I think so.
So what does that mean? It means people who are on those points have big placements on those points, like your sun's sign, for example, will tend to be known. People will know their name. They do things in a big way, that kind of thing. So that's often the meaning of a world point, and it's just another marker that sort of speaks to our destiny in the world.
Also, when we get transits there, we'll see stuff on the world stage, which is like, the news and whatnot. Okay.
What we keep talking about, Aries 0 with Neptune now.
Right. So, all right. So I picked 3 cards.
Yeah.
And this first card is, okay, so this is like in relation to our past. Okay. And this is the Pentacles card, 6 of Pentacles, and you can see it there, the 6 of Pentacles. Okay. And it's a really beautiful card because it's really about all the abundance and flow that you've had. You can be grateful for that because yeah, it's probably in the past for most of us. And so, this is about the abundance and the flow that you've had, the collaboration you've had with others, and how you've come together in a good way. You can come to appreciate that is in the past, okay? And as you go forward, just be aware that it could be some conflict going on right now, okay? And that's exactly what we're seeing with Pluto and Mars. Pluto and Mars is definitely conflict. It's definitely uncomfortable things we have to fight against. We have to work against. We have to find a solution to this problem. And that's exactly what Seven of Wands is. It's about fighting back. It's about conflict. Okay. And so this is very much about the conflict and the ebb and flow of life. This makes me think of Michael Franti's song, Life is Amazing, and then it sucks. And then it's amazing again.
And then it sucks.
And so he has a fun song like that. And that's exactly what this whole reading is making me think of, is that, life is amazing.
And then it sucks.
And then it sucks.
And then it's amazing.
Well,
and then it sucks.
But we have to go to our inner demons when it sucks. Woo! Because this is the 10 of Swords for the future. So if there's some sort of inner demons that you have to deal with, I know I myself have inner demons. I have things that I do that I'm like, why did I do that? And if you recognize parts of you that need to heal, just recognize them, bring them out into the awareness, at least to yourself. I'm not saying you have to, go announce it to the world or something. I'm just saying that to become aware of it and maybe give it up to the moon. The new moon is a good time to make new habits or start new things. And so maybe you can let go of them before this weekend, let those inner demons go. And then with the new moon, start in a new way, find a new way. And that's exactly what this is about. Let go of those inner demons that no longer serve you and step forward into the positive, into what does serve you. Okay.
It's deep. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, bottom line is we hope you have a great week. It's been fun interacting. Thanks for asking great questions.
Yeah, it's great when we have questions. We love good questions. That's why I always say bring your chart, bring your chart, bring your chart.
Yeah.
You can get your chart for free. You can get the circle chart. I prefer circle charts like this. If you ever want me to look at it or something real quick, you need to present the circle chart. Presenting in the graphs or whatever is just unreadable for me. I have to read it in the circle chart. Okay. And
there's enough to interpret.
Yeah, it just makes me have to think backwards. So I realize that, that some people can't read it in the circle chart.
Thank you, Melissa. It's really great to get a chance to make it very interactive, so it's super applicable. We appreciate you. So good to hear from you again, Donna. I hope it gets a little better and a little easier, a little gentler. This last few weeks and months and the eclipses and everything, it's been super intense. There's just no other way to slice it. And I'm just like crossing my fingers that, I love some of the astrologers that remind us we're all in this together. We chose to come here. Don't worry, the universe is unfolding just exactly the way it should. All of these, they may sound like platitudes, but I find them to be affirmations that are truths. And when we sit in those truths and affirmations, we go, oh yeah, I did choose this. I am on track. I am living intentionally. I am here with the people I have chosen to do this with. I love the sort of imaginary, we're all at Hogwarts dining hall before we incarnated going, okay, so your part is to piss me off so I learn what's really important. And it's always whatever emotion we're seeking, the opposite teaches us the most about it.
Absolutely.
Death teaches us to value life. love teaches us, or having challenges with love teaches us the values of love, all of those things. And so blessings, lots of good vibes your way. And, I just hope it goes really well. Thanks again for supporting us with your likes and your comments and your
now now Psychic Insights page can finally take stars. So we appreciate those too.
Oh, that's great. That's
All
great.
right.
Well, thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.